Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Nancy Beth. And here's her story. Hi, Ollie. It's Nancy Beth. I'm making a donation as we must keep the narc resistance going. I know you have touched on this before, but could you please do a video about that awakening moment we eventually feel and that feeling of anger and despair at how our lives have been robbed by these narc beings? I have so many situations I could have you do videos on about my life. I just don't know where to start, as it can all be so dizzying. So as I go, I'll try to get my thoughts organized enough over time and present what I have to contribute to your channel. Just maybe some of my stories, like others who have presented here, have helped me, will give someone still in such anguish about their situation an aha moment and say, oh my God, that's it. That's what happened to me too. So again, I'm asking you to help us all with this horrible feeling we get when we realize that our childhood and or relationships were all a farce. I now burst into tears thinking about I now burst into tears just thinking about it, but I have to say the crying part is a good thing of late. It took so long for me to cry as I stuffed everything away, being a rock and the fixer of my crazy ass family. I look back at my life now. I am in my 50s and I am so incredibly angry that anyone could be so evil and self-serving to brainwash their children and serve a purpose. The only purpose that in my case, making sure the narc mother is taken care of at all costs. They have no soul, no conscience, and to me this is all because they are lost children in adult bodies who didn't get the love required of them as children. Not the fake manipulative treatment they decide to call love while raising us. Real unconditional love. These children, when they reached their adult form, made the wrong decision on how to get that very important missing element any way that they can. All without a thought in the world about perpetrating it through future generations. Someone has to then, and eventually will, with education, break that chain. People like us that have the knowledge we have now from this education you have passed on to us here in the narc resistance, we can break that chain. Well, I decided I'd break my chain now. I will make the choice not to carry on this torch. Only I walk through life now thinking how could I have been so brainwashed? I am an intelligent person. At 12 years old, I was playing college-level classical piano. My teacher wanted me to play at Carnegie Hall in New York City. That horrified me. Too frightening. Yet my mother never helped me with this. She was just happy as long as I was home playing the piano for her, like an entertainer. This shows you how crafty and overpowering the brainwashing can be that you have been living in a virtual bubble, afraid to offend the narc mother. After all, her favorite phrases to this day are, mother knows best, and honor thy mother and father. Yes, the second one, quoting scripture, while she is an atheist and stated angrily that she would slam the door in Jesus' face if he ever appeared. Because she's God. How dare Jesus show up? Don't you know I'm the one and only God? The more I have learned and seen what has been the truth my entire life so far, the more I get triggered, which I see as healthy processing and cleansing out of all the crap that has been shoved down my throat as the truth. I'm tired of being the rock and holding the extended family together. For what? It feels so stupid and used. Now the triggers have been coming more often. If I go to anyone else's family events when I get home, I am all out bawling once no one else is around. I think to myself, why didn't I get that kind of unconditional love growing up? I remember when I called my mother on the phone and told her my husband and I were having another baby. She didn't hesitate to say in a very disappointed tone, of course you are. Naturally then, I felt guilty. I didn't tell my husband she said that. How he feels about my family is a whole nother story. He grew up with his own dysfunctional family unit, but doesn't quite understand what this is all about. He just will not allow them anywhere near me without him when I have the minimal contact I have to have, which is another story as to why I still have to have this minimal contact. He makes sure he is with me to pull me right out when things start revving up. He gets right in their face. I show him your political videos. We love the no bullshit approach. Without digressing any longer, it's no wonder with my upbringing that I was bullied and shy, never advanced academically, and barely had any friends. The friends I did have were part of the wrong crowd, but they were the ones that just made me feel like I belonged to something, anything. I asked my mother once if I never initiated any activities on my own outside the house, would you have just kept me in my room all my life? She answered while answering, yes. Not funny, Mom. Creepy because I know you meant that shit. She also brainwashed me into massive guilt by saying I always would stop and think first. I would always stop first and think, what would my mother like? It makes me sick just typing this. Naturally, everything I did was based on what my mother would like. And that's a common theme with narc mothers and daughters. I'm working with someone right now who is going through, for the first time in her life, making a decision on her own, and she's 30. And just like that, as soon as the switch was hit, she took off with her life. And she's in the process of doing a lot of things. My son, who is 22 now and knows all about my extended family, came home unexpectedly one night from college and found me just sitting on the couch crying my eyes out after being at a baby shower for someone I know. I explained to him that I was crying about all the love I saw pouring out over this woman at the baby shower from her family and friends. There was nothing phony feeling or staged about what I witnessed. Now I know that is what I was supposed to have, just like all of us here, but was denied it. How could I have been so brainwashed to not see what was going on all these years with the emotional manipulation and blackmail? Well, for one, it was indirectly drilled into my head with pure mental manipulation how I was to worship my mother because she gave birth to me. She had me conceived, and I did. I sent her flowers every year on my birthday. I no longer do this. She is the queen. She wants my kids to call her grandmama, like she is Queen Mother of England, like the Queen Mother of England was called. That I didn't comply with. At the time, I just thought it was quirky of her. Also, she will call me out of the blue to announce she is having her lunch now and how has such a good appetite and has no problem with her bowel movements and her heart and her horrible her skin is such a problem. This occurs constantly. That's just the tip of the iceberg. More to come another time. I never wanted my kids to see me crying when they were young children, so of course I was apologizing for it when my son walked in. But now I believe this time it was for good, as after I had explained to my son and daughter when they became adults how I feel so lost now because of what my life might have been and what I could have really accomplished. So now I feel incredibly stupid for not taking on life for me instead of worrying if it was going to agree with my mother's agenda, always trying to get that approval from Mom. I always protected my kids from the family and put up a happy front while they were growing up. I didn't want to inadvertently screw them up because they saw me with all these problems. Well, let me tell you, my son told me, no, Mom, this is exactly where you're supposed to be in life. Your mother fucked up. You are the one that is meant to end this. Remember how you told us that you raised us to do the exact opposite of what your family did. Only you still felt guilty it was going to offend your mother somehow. Right now, with this new realization, you are grieving. You are the grieving mother and family. You're grieving the mother and family you never had growing up. But when you feel better, you will see that you put an end to all this so it doesn't further infect the future generations. I told him I felt like such a failure to my two kids because I think they see me as lazy and unaccomplished, as I have fibromyalgia, CPTSD, and chronic depression, and never furthered my career. My son told me how wrong I was, as as he sees me as the matriarch of the family. The new family has a matriarch that will only perpetuate love. I know he doesn't mean matriarch the way my mother would have loved to have been called, as in royalty. So I was floored with what he told me. I felt a relief. He couldn't have walked in at a better time. I wrote everything down he told me, as I needed to be constantly reminded of what he told me. As our own thoughts will never convince us, as it's a deprogramming, as it's like deprogramming a spy. Wait, spies are intelligent, but can still be brainwashed as needed. Anyway, I need to retrain my brain, as no matter how smart, educated, and experienced in life you are, there is nothing more tricky and manipulating than a narc BPD mother. So my next steps were to decide what I would have done if I wasn't raised in that mess. I decided to take a writing class and start playing piano. This was my own small, inexpensive digital piano I saved up and gifted myself, as I would never play the piano at my mother's house anymore, as it was just a reinforcement of my mother's dictatorship. It was an amazing validation I received. It was amazing the validation I received from people who read my stories and listened to me play. I was not used to that. So please, any of you, pick something you would have done if you weren't part of the big narc mess. Anything. Even if it is done slowly and in small increments of time, and even if you can't go to school or make a living at it, read about it just to give your mind a break from all the garbage programmed into you. But if you are still in any contact, even minimal contact with the narc, under no circumstances are you to tell them your interest in what you are doing. My husband always tells me, do not tell them anything. That's right, because they're going to use whatever you tell them against you. As I have a habit of telling my mother things out of desperate need for approval, so horrible they will find something negative and throw it back in your face and use it in any way they can against you. You can't stop confessing. You can't stop confessing to the narc stuff that they're only going to use against you. Even down the road, they store it up like ammunition. It took me a long time to get the nerve up to present my writing and piano playing, but it is giving me hope that the second half of my life will belong to me, even if you cannot afford it. The writing class I found was at the library, so it was free. It gave me some contact with regular type people that I could connect with, that I had mutual interests, but I did not have to commit friendship with them, as I am still raw and may draw a new narc friend in like a magnet. I may not be able to make a living at what my interests are or accomplish as much as what I could have in the past with it, but it makes me happier for these moments that I can escape and give my damaged mind a rest, so I can continue to heal and look forward to witnessing my children and their children flourish without the evil viral pathogen of narc BPD. I wish the knowledge came sooner. It still makes me feel so foolish and apologetic when I cry. It shouldn't. Look, whether you're crying or raging out, or it's a release of realizing of all the mess you have to deal with. It's not too late to write. It's not too late to do anything. I mean, look at some of these writers. These writers become famous in their 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter. You can write at any age. Thank you so much, Ollie. Hope Father's Day was not too triggering while you're in your situation with Aaron. I try not to think about it. I have faith one day you'll be introducing your daughter to us right on screen during one of our videos with you smiling from ear to ear. I don't think so. She will come around as soon as she sees the bullshit unfold. As she gets older, she may even become your partner in the narc resistance, and we'll have another aspect to give everyone on her experiences with Drunky, the Fuck Clown, and Bunny Rabbit Meet Enormous. In the meantime, I'm sure your family of viewers have no hesitation calling you the father of narc resistance. With so much thanks, Nancy Beth. You know, I've talked about this, you know, whether it's the moment you were broken or the after effects that you're dealing with, you know. What Nancy's dealing with, it's coming out in tears and in sorrow. What a lot of us deal with, it comes out in rage. Because when you realize what's been done to you and how much you've lost potentially and how screwed up your thinking is and how unnecessary all of it was, it's going to manifest itself emotionally in some way. As humans, you can only take so much injustice before it's going to boil over. And whether it's boiling over in anger, rage, internalized sorrow, crying, it's got to come out somehow. Because it's all a part of the dealing process of understanding what happened. You need your sorrow. I need my rage. We all do. Because without it, you might forget. And when we forget, that's when we start believing the lie. And what's the lie? The lie is that we're bad, we're evil, we're the problem. So in order for us to not feel that way, rage out, cry your heart out. Because as long as we're angry or crying or whatever, we're living in reality. And as long as we're living in reality, we're directing the anger where it belongs, on the abuser, not on us. Yeah, we're angry at ourselves for not seeing it, but where's the real root of the anger? The real root of the anger is at them for doing it to begin with. The emotion that the externalized emotion that comes out helps us not lie to ourselves because it's real. It's truth. It's externalized truth. It's not calculated. It's like, I don't just get up and say, I'm just going to start flipping out, raging. Nancy doesn't say, oh, it's a good time to just cry it out on the couch. You know, because I saw what a normal family is like, and I saw what unconditional love, what I was supposed to have and what I didn't, why I'm in the position I'm in. The externalized emotion keeps us from lying to ourselves about ourselves. So don't get caught up in you need it. Because it's coming out for a reason, because it needs to come out. Because your subconscious is telling you this is important. You need to realize this, Nancy, at this point. You need to lock this in. And we're going to do this by breaking you down on your couch so you can really see it for what it is. So you'll stop blaming yourself. And I think that's what happens with all of us. So thank you again for another contribution, Nancy Best, and thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. I hope this helped. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, or you'd like to set up a Skype chat, phone call, have a private video made, Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video for someone else, or just sponsor the channel so it'll grow, get equipment, whatever, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you still don't know, the instructional video link pops up at the end of this video to walk you through all of that. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.